Hello there, my name is Sixo, but more on that later because we're going to talk the Age of the Primes 4-pack today. And yes, this is actually a little bit of a new endeavour for me. I've not really done videos like this before, but I figured, hey, why not? It's kind of a pretty standard YouTube thing, so I thought I'd try my hand at it. And if you do like it, you can let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see more of this kind of thing, and, maybe drop me a little bit of a like as well. That's always appreciated. Anyway, the headline news is that I think this pack looks pretty good. And I say that as someone that was very skeptical, right? Because I'm normally not too sure about the whole 4-pack thing. If only because there's always one random bot in the pack that nobody really wants, right? So yeah, it's kind of hard to not treat these things a little bit cynically, but in this case, it does seem like all 4 of the bots are pretty good. Now, before we get into all of that, I should mention that this video is brought to you by TF Source, so you will find a link to their site in the description below, and you should go ahead and check them out for all your Transformers needs. Now, for me, there's no question that the main draw with this set is Ultra Magnus. Like, I absolutely love the little Legacy G1 universe Optimus Prime, right? And I had said when I reviewed this thing that I would be up for a few repaints of it, and here we are. It's just like a really adorable toy. You can tell that it's been done with a lot of love and reverence for the original, but it's something a little bit different as well, and it kind of stands apart from Missing Link in that regard for me. I'm also, by the way, a big fan of the whole Ultra Magnus White Prime in armor thing. I mean, for me as a kid, all this made me think of was the Hate Plague alloy coating that Optimus Prime had at the end of the G1 cartoon, which was super cool. But even beyond that, it's just kind of a fun and slightly different take on the classic Optimus Prime look, and I'm all here for that. Do kind of wonder if we'll get this one as a Missing Link as well, though. We'll have to see. Anyway, on the Age of the Primes figure, you can see he's got his little white gun and his blue axe as well, so all good. And he's got the blue faceplate, which was not true of all the classic Ultra Magnus toys. Some of them had unpainted faces, so that is very nice to see. I just hope it doesn't yellow, right? Like, that would be a travesty. It would also be pretty funny if someone made an armor for this, whether it's third party or official. Now, the rumor is that we've got a Missing Link on the way of Ultra Magnus. That's a rumor, at least. Don't quote me on that. But I do think that this mold, it's so much smaller, it would just be hilarious to see some sort of armor for it as well. I kind of feel like it might happen, DNA design, or someone might get on that. We'll have to see. So yeah, all told, when you put these two things together, I'm a happy man. Now, next up, we've got the animated Nemesis Prime, which is a bit of a new thing, actually. And that's because there never was a Nemesis Prime back in the day during the original animated line. And I mean that with like the teal and the red windows and the Decepticon logo and all of those kind of usual trappings that a Nemesis Prime has. Now, there was a Takara Black Convoy, which I have actually done a review of on the channel, but that was a very different thing. And yes, it's black and it's Black Convoy, but it has an Autobot logo for one thing, and the deco's a little bit different. I mean, Black Convoy, Nemesis Prime, maybe you don't consider them that different, and that's fine. Whatever the case, this is a really fun reinterpretation of this new Legacy mold. For one thing, it's got a retooled face with the faceplate, which I think is kind of cool, because that now means that of the 3 versions we've had of this mold, they've all got different heads. It's also got really neat little teal hands, which is something a bit different for this kind of deco. I kind of like it. As well as a rather natty little translucent red axe, so it looks pretty cool. And fun fact, this is actually the first version of this mold that I'm likely to own, because I don't have any of the others. Now, next we come to what I think for a lot of people will be the main draw of this set, or one of them anyway, because as I say, it all looks pretty good, but that is Horri-Bull, based on the original 1988 Headmaster toy. Now, this little guy was notorious for several things, one of which was, of course, the terrifically punny name, absolutely fantastic, but also the fact that it broke. Like, whenever you tried to move the head down into the beast mode, it was notorious for breaking, so that's definitely something to watch out for on this guy. Obviously, that won't be a problem on the new one, but he does have the rather Ghostbusters-esque Hellhound alternate mode, which I think is super cool. Now, in this case, the new toy is a retool of the Titans Return Skull Smasher toy, and we have seen that a couple of times recently, actually, like with the Squeeze Play that they did, Legacy Squeeze Play. That was also a retool of a Titans Return toy, so they are bringing back some of those sort of 2016 era molds, which is quite interesting. But believe it or not, this is actually the first toy that the characters had since the 1988 original outside of a Titan Master, which, I don't know about you, is cool, but I don't really count it. Now, Horri-Bull here was originally released alongside Fangry and Squeeze Play. They were the 3 1988 Decepticon Headmasters. And don't get me wrong, I think it's hilarious that you have to buy these 3 4-packs in order to complete this roster in Generations form. That said, they are apparently re-releasing Fangry next year, maybe, so we'll have to see if that actually materializes and if it's the same toy. But either way, this is just a very strange way to have to try and complete these sorts of rosters, right? Now, I actually think the new Horri-Bull looks looks great. I was a big fan of Squeeze Play, despite being slightly skeptical how that was going to turn out, so I have fairly high hopes for this thing as well. The colours are a little bit brighter versus the original, particularly the grey, because it's much darker on the 1988 toy, so that's a big difference. But actually I think even the pink and the blue are slightly more saturated than they appear on the original. Now he's still got his little headmaster partner who's called Kreb. Of course he is, and he's got his tech spec reader on his chest as well, although I suspect that that won't actually be a functioning thing like it was in the original toy. I mean, it definitely wasn't on Squeeze Play or Fangry, for example. And just like the original, he does come with 2 guns, one of which, the blue one, plugs into his bum, essentially, to form a tail of sorts when he's in his beast mode. So, you know, it's a bit of a weird way that they've done things here, but at least we've got this trio complete at long last, right? Now, another inclusion in this set that has caused a fair bit of comment is Bumper. Now, this is the 1984 Transformers toy that never was, except it actually was, because I have one here. See, it was never officially released in Transformers, but it did hail from Microchange, alongside the molds that went on to become Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. There it was known as MCO4, it was available in a range of colours, including the yellow, and it's a little Mazda familiar. Now, interestingly, it is a completely separate mold from Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, although a lot of people think that they must be retools of one another, and they do share engineering, but separate molds. Now, the running theory is that it was planned to be introduced into Transformers at some point, but it only ever materialised on Cliffjumper cards, so it never had its own card or own release of any kind, not officially, just on those Cliffjumper cards. So it's always been a bit of an oddity and quite desirable as a result. Because it had no official name, it took on the fan term Bumblejumper for Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, of course, and then that was kind of later shortened over time to simply Bumper. And believe it or not, this Age of the Primes effort is the first official toy of the character in 41 years. So that's pretty cool, right? Like, they've finally made him real. Although, yes, he has a beard in fiction and various other things as well, but first toy. Now, this is obviously a slight retool of the Studio Series Bumblebee mold. You can see it's got a new head with a blue visor, which is pretty cool. Definitely looks like the original toy. Sadly, though, there's no retooling in the car mode, which has caused a little bit of controversy because clearly some folks perceive that the SS86 Bumblebee mold is more closely skewed towards being a Volkswagen Beetle. Now, to be honest, in truth, it's a real mishmash, right? That does not look like a Beetle to me anyway. Like, that's not what a Beetle looks like. It's a real mishmash. It's got the kind of wheel arches and the front end of a Beetle, yes, but then the roof is all Mazda, and that's where this guy comes in. I saw someone online describe it as a composite penny racer, and I think that's exactly what this is. That they obviously tried to kind of mix the various molds or the various designs kind of together to make one hybrid, and in that way, it's not really a Volkswagen or a Mazda, it's kind of neither and both. I don't know, it's really strange. Ultimately though, I guess if it worked for you as Bumblebee, then there's probably no reason it shouldn't work as Bumper, but I know these things are never that simple, so I guess it either works for both, or it doesn't work for both, or maybe it works for one and not the other. You decide. For my money, I think this is fine. Honestly, it would have been nice if they'd retooled the feet, you know, for the front end of the car, but the fact that they haven't, it's not going to make me lose any sleep. I think it's absolutely okay as Bumper, and I do think it's kind of cool that we're finally getting a toy of him. Like, for me, the fact that they redid the head is much more important than that front bumper. Although, yes, I do miss the supremely squished style of the original Mazda Familiar. So there we go. Overall, I think a pretty good 4-pack. Now, I did see that it was selling out pretty quickly, but they have made some more stock available, so you might want to get in there pretty quick. I've already got my copy secured, fortunately. But otherwise, what are your thoughts on this 4-pack? Which of the figures is your favourite? Are the ones that you like or that you don't like? Also, don't forget that I'll put a link to TF Source's site in the description below, and you should absolutely go ahead and check them out for all your Transformers needs. Also, don't forget to let me know if you like this format and if it's worth me doing more videos like this. I would love to hear about it, and I'd also be very grateful if you could leave me a like for this as well, please. But otherwise, that's it from me. So have a great rest of your day, and TTFN.